So we're good to go. All right, everyone, welcome in. Episode one of the Brad Burns Bridges podcast. I'm Bridges.
And I'm Brad.
Let's hop right into it. We got some games that we're gonna kind of go over. First things first, Brad. What do you think was like statement game, biggest takeaway, week one college football?
I mean, it's hard to ignore kind of what Colorado did at that 11 a.m. slot. Um, I don't think anyone was expecting Sanders to play that well at QB, them to have that many playmakers in just Deion's first year. Um, you know, I guess it's not terribly surprising just how well he's done in recruiting, but the way they were able to play, collectively as a team, first game out was pretty impressive against the, you know, defending, I think, Orange Bowl champs, whatever TCU
Yeah,
won
for
in the
sure.
college football playoff, and then, losing in the national championship, pretty impressive from
Yeah,
them.
totally agree, man. I think that prime time brought it. He was there. He wanted to make a statement. And I think Travis Hunter, if that dude, that kid can throw some balls. So, I mean, if that guy can play 100 plus snaps a week, we might as well just roll out the carpet and hand that boy the Heisman Trophy because that's some stuff I've never seen before. Um, Deion's son played a heck of a game, dude, but I just, there's something in my head that's like, man, TCU with it was a fluke last year, man. They won a lot of close games. I feel like they got by with some big time statement wins, not discrediting them, but I think that, it kind of reminds me of Arkansas when we went 9-4, won the Outback Bowl. We won like 6 games by like, one score ball games that could have gone either way there at the end. Um, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Colorado was a, you know, crazy statement game, tone setting weekend, getting people back into it. Which kind of leads me to my next, little thing. What do you think was the biggest disaster from week one? I think that there are several games that you can kind of hop into. I think you can talk about the game kicking off pretty much the season with Florida and Utah. I think Florida looked just all over the place, man. I think Clemson really had an opportunity to come out and, prove the haters wrong from last year. I think LSU, I think Florida State's a really good team, but I think LSU kind of dropped the ball a bit. So, what are you kind of looking for?
Yeah, I mean, those are all good ones. I don't know why this was the first thing that came to my mind, but I was expecting a lot from South Carolina, and the offensive line just gave Rattler no shot. And I'll give Rattler props. I mean, he played it as well as he could have. But geez, I mean, it was like in North Carolina, there's no way that defense is as good as how they played that game. They were pressuring Rattler every snap, and it was just kind of surprising after a full year of getting ready. Shane Beamer didn't have that ready for that game. Totally agree with Florida. They looked like a total mess. That's kind of how I was expecting Colorado to play. First year head coach with Dion, total opposite. Billy Napier in his second year should have had a little more control over his guys. They just looked lost out there. Graham Mertz in his first year at Florida, never been a fan of kind of his play, but
Yeah, that's the Big Ten. You know a lot about the Big Ten over there, so
yeah, exactly. Fresh start in the SEC with Florida. You never know. He was a big time recruit coming out of Overland Park, Kansas. Shout out Blue Valley.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, just looked nothing new from his days at Wisconsin. Just totally lost out there. I was impressed with Utah though, with the two QBs rolling back and forth with their guy Cam Rising out. Um, so not trying to throw shade at Utah. I thought they played a really good game, but Florida just looked lost, and it'll be interesting to see how they deal with a tough SEC schedule.
Oh, for sure, man. I think that, you set off the game, you have all the hype in the world, everyone in the nation, that's college football fans tuned in. They're freaking licking their chops, beers are flowing. They're ready to watch some college ball, And then Florida comes out and early in the game, they pick up a penalty that, ends up costing them the ball because they got two players wearing the same number. I mean, it was just they were in complete disarray the whole time. Like, I don't know. I would place money that I don't think Billy Napier makes it through the end of the year if they don't make some serious improvements, man.
Yeah, I've never known too much about him, but not a great start. I forget what they finished, what their record would finish last year. Were they bowl
But last
eligible
year,
last year?
it was a hard watch, and they had Anthony Richardson, obviously great talent, didn't play up to his standards, got
What'd
drafted.
they go? What was their record?
Man, I don't know. I don't think they made a bowl game. Let me.
I don't think they did either, and that's with beating Utah last year. So they obviously didn't play well in the SEC. So he's got a tough road ahead. And with how impatient these ADs are, especially at the SEC schools, I
Oh,
mean, I hope
they
he's
went
able to.
6-7 last year, so I guess they lost in a bowl game last year. But
They made a bowl.
yeah, I
Okay,
mean, but that's they ended on a three-loss streak to end the year. So I mean,
right.
it wasn't a good.
Yeah, they had the fourth overall pick in the draft, so you'd think they'd be a little better than 6-6.
I totally agree, man. I mean, did you watch that Clemson game closely? Like, I don't
A little. It
keep up with.
was it was putting me to sleep. Not gonna lie. Um, it was a weird game. I think I saw Davos said they had 200 yards passing and 200 yards rushing, and in his career, he's like 59-0.
Yeah,
He'd never lost a game, and then like Clemson all time was like 109-0, and so just some weird turnovers in the red zone, some weird penalties. Did you see the targeting? But it was a dead ball foul. Okay,
that
so
gave them or that was I don't know. Go ahead and explain it.
So Cade is it Cade Klubnik, their starting coach
Yeah,
TV?
yeah.
It's like 4th and 9, like I forget how much time. It was in the fourth quarter, but he was running the ball. It was a pass play and then he tucked it and ran, and he was almost at the down to get gain marker, and he starts to slide, and they called him a yard short. But during his slide, one of the Duke defenders lowered his helmet and got called for targeting. But since they called him down before he got the line to gain, he was already down, and the penalty happened after the play. So they lost the ball, but they got targeting. It was super strange.
That's
My
crazy.
point is, they just had a lot of tough breaks in that entire game, and it was just a really strange season opener. And also, I don't understand scheduling. How do you start an ACC? What's up with this conference game week one? Like, I don't understand that. On the road too, like, just a bad draw for
Yeah,
Clemson. I
tough
thought.
environment, dude. Duke is not, Duke isn't a team that I'm going to sit here and tell you like are going to shock the world this year. But they definitely came out and played some good ball. I think turnovers, like you said, I do remember the turnover that was, earlier in the game, 7-6 ball game. Clemson like runs like a RPO it looked like, and he ends up handing the ball off, and ball gets popped loose, and they take it back almost to the crib. And I mean, you can kind of say, that I feel like watching that LSU game was kind of similar. Like I was locked in. I thought that was going to be the best game all weekend. Colorado stole the show, obviously. But sitting there and watching them turn the ball over on like their second and third drives inside the red zone, where you can take your points, given it didn't matter in the end. But you know, those kill you. Those kill momentum. Those kill drives. The other team is going to take advantage of that. I think Jordan Travis is really good, so they definitely hopped on in. Um, Dude, why don't we talk about the Iowa Hawkeyes for a minute? Let you kind of give your thoughts on their season opener. Obviously, top 25 going in. Week two, not so much. So, I mean, do you think that's deserved? I mean, come on now.
Who's to say, right? I mean, I think we're 26 now, so
Yeah.
one spot. But reflections on the game. Started hot early. I think literally first play of the game, about a 50, 60 yard kickoff return to the 40-yard line. That was lacking last year. No explosiveness on offense, especially, and special teams there. And then I think 2 or 3 plays later, Cade McNamara finds one of our wide receivers in the end zone. And then I think next drive, touchdown again. So we had two passing touchdowns in our first two drives. It took us 5 games last year to get two
Oh,
passing
geez.
touchdowns.
I mean, y'all had
And
one of
so,
the best college prospects at quarterback last year. I
yep,
understand what you're going through, man. I think that whenever
RIP.
McNamara went crazy, man, that first drive, I think everyone in Iowa was like, "Holy shit, we have a chance to win the whole thing this year." You know?
Yep, yeah. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of excitement. And then, same old Iowa, we got real conservative. No points in the second quarter. Actually, we got a field goal, but not a lot of offense. And then same thing in the second half. I think we got one more touchdown. So I think the final score is like 24-14. Um, but I mean, at least there's flashes, right? Like last year, there was nothing. Cade McNamara is still nursing a tweaked hammy or calf. I forget
I saw
which.
that
But
earlier. I didn't know if he was going to play to start the year, man.
yeah, so he's nursing that. But he looked mobile enough, and so I don't see why he won't be on the field against Iowa State this Saturday, which is a huge game on the road.
Yep.
Defense was obviously really good. Um, I mean, Utah State. I mean, it's not like an FCS school. They're a Group of Five team that regularly makes a bowl game. So
Yep.
good win to start the year, and I'm not sweating not being ranked. We'll see. We'll see what happens this weekend, and we'll go from there.
I don't want to get too into the Iowa State game. I think we're going to preview that kind of at the end of the episode. So, um, yeah, we got. I think we should go over the Hogs a little bit. I know that it wasn't a crazy good matchup. What'd you like there? What'd you not like? Um, from the Razorbacks this week one against Western Carolina.
I really like the offense. I mean, KJ is just doing KJ things. I think Dan Enos.
Yeah,
I think he's a real good fit for the program. I think he complements Sam and the defense real well. Um, Especially what would happen to Kendall Browse this weekend. I think, you know, unfortunate to I guess
R.I.P.
lose
dude.
him,
Thank
but
God.
it may be a blessing in disguise.
Mm,
Uh, I think Dan's real excited about kind of the pieces he has on offense. Hopefully, we can get the running game going a little more.
yeah,
I know we got some
Rocket
studs up.
Sanders is out the next 2 weeks too. I don't know if you saw that breaking news, man, but
I know we got some studs up front, so there should be some good holes for those running backs to get through. So we just need someone to step up and go from there. But yeah, I mean, not a tough game this weekend, so they got time to get the gears going before BYU in 2 weeks. So, but no, I'll be looking at the running game and then just our defense being a little more stout. I was not entirely impressed, kind of with their physicality and just you
yeah, we
know
got 4 turnovers. A lot of them were, other than the fumble, like the 3 interceptions, like 2 of them were bad reads. It wasn't like an incredible play was made. So,
right.
I think we did answer questions. We were improved, given it was not the competition that we were getting scorched with last year. And we'll learn a lot, in the next couple weeks. I will say, receiver was a lot, one of my bigger concerns. Yeah, we have a lot of these transfers coming in. I think Tesla, Armstrong, Sategna, Wilson played great. Um, first 7 completions were to 7 different receivers. That shows, that KJ's got confidence in his boys. Those guys has got his back. We didn't see a lot of drops. I liked not running KJ as much. Like I feel like last year what got us in trouble, other than our defense having injuries, was KJ not being physically 100%. And I think that when you're as athletic and as big of a beast as him out there, you just want to run lower your shoulder, run through someone just to get the team fired up, maybe get the juices flowing, get the crowd into the game. And I think, man, last year, I think there was a couple times that he did that, and that maybe left him with a little bit of a stinger. The BYU game, into that running over someone, messing up his neck. When the game's pretty much over, just little stuff like that. that I liked not seeing. I thought the receivers were great. I thought the O line was fine. I would like to see a little bit more um, next couple weeks, but I think it was really good. Step in the right direction. I think we're going the right way. Um,
You
you
didn't go to the game, did you?
Man, I was at the tailgate in Little Rock, but I did not. Dude, it was hot. Um, Man, to be honest with you, don't remember much of the game if you know what I mean. But I did watch the highlights, so we're up to speed. Um,
You're
you got anything else on that, or do you want to move on?
No, I was just gonna add if I was wondering if you were at the game because I kind of heard it was just a shit show at War Memorial.
Oh, dude, I've got a crazy story for you. They ran out of water after the first quarter in the stadium. So, like, all
Yeah, it's
these
crazy.
people are like dehydrated, 100 degrees. A lot of people have been, you know, drinking. So they need some water, fluids, man. They pretty much only had soda and beer. It was a huge thing on social media. Not even going to get into the turf debacle because a lot of people are saying that, every year we play there, man, someone gets hurt and it's like a non-contact deal. Now Rockets out a couple weeks. I don't want to get into it. Um, I do like the Little Rock game, man. I understand the value that you're losing and, obviously dollars, revenue. But man, when I was growing up, you had like LSU and all these, badass games that are going on. And, being a kid going there, that's where my love really like grew. Passion. But yeah, I totally understand it. Why don't we shift gears? Because we've got a little bit of a controversial game this Thursday, Brad, if you know what I'm saying. Um, let's forecast a little bit of the Thursday night game. I don't even think we really need to get into any Sunday games um, just to save on time. But Kansas City, Detroit, house divided here. We see that you're a big Kansas City fan. I know you also keep up with the Lions. Why don't you give us what you're kind of expecting from the Chiefs? I'll give kind of a Lions standpoint, and then let's kind of go in and give our thoughts on how the game's going to go. So you take it away.
Yeah, I mean, obviously exciting coming off Super Bowl season. Uh, First game at home. There's going to be a lot of excitement at Arrowhead, night game, season opener. It'll be interesting to see how the young players play. Um, they played, obviously, they were such a key part in the success of the team last year. I think seven rookies in the starting rotation. Um, but, they're still young, and so they're going to have to step up. Some injuries on offense, obviously, with Travis Kelce. Kadarius Toney, I think, is a little banged up.
Yep.
Um, and then on defense, same thing. Chris Jones, no one knows kind of what's going
Yeah,
on,
man, that's
contract
crazy
stuff.
too. Y'all studs are dropping like flies, man.
Yeah, so I mean, same kind of story last year with, just next man up mentality, and obviously that worked, but it's harder said than done, or it's easier said than done.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, just super excited. Not a whole lot of expectations, but just excited to get the season going.
Yeah, man, that's going to be interesting kind of to see, obviously if Kelsey's out, it's even a bigger deal. But I think, Juju was kind of a security blanket last year. He had some really big games. With him gone, man, you look out there and there's a bunch of young receivers. Sky Moore, I think is the big candidate to like take that step and be kind of like Mahomes' right hand in the, you know, in the
They said
receiver.
he's been having a good camp, so it'll be interesting. MVS as well. Um, Noah Gray, backup tight end.
Yeah, dude, what do you think
Has
about Justin Ross? Wasn't he making some noise?
Yeah, him as well. Apparently he's been just balling out at camp. Um, it's been a while since we've kind of seen him on the field. I kind of remember the Clemson Bama national championship game where he kind of just took over,
Oh my
and so
God.
it would be pretty exciting to see kind of any part of that type of player at Arrowhead on Thursday. We definitely need it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Um, Now, getting kind of into the Lions' point of view, I feel like the Lions ended the season on such a high note. Like me personally, I know we all have a little Lions group chat, keep up with them. A lot of them we're not, it's not our number one team, but um, man, dude, they took America's heart last year. Like the tough times that they went through. I mean, just overcoming and building what they've built. I think Dan Campbell, I think the reason that I like them so much is because they remind me of the Hogs, just like blue collar, chip on your shoulder, really had been bad for a while, and now things are looking good. But to get more off the soapbox here, I do think a big thing for the Thursday night game, obviously tomorrow night, is how the defense is going to look. They brought in a lot of new guys, especially in the secondary. Um, I think that there's a lot of talent there. You obviously have Aiden Hutchinson. You have that new linebacker stud from Iowa. Shout out the Hawkeyes. It's going to be interesting to see how they play, and I mean they're going to be running fast, hitting hard. It's just can't give up the big chunk plays. You can't let Mahomes drive down the field and score every possession, which is why he gets paid the big bucks. Offense, man, I think Jared Goff is him. I think Gibbs is a stud. Amon Ra is like my favorite player in the NFL. So I mean, I think the pieces are there. It's gonna be interesting
Is
to see.
Jameson Williams playing?
Dude, he's out for the first 6 games of the year, but he's gonna be a beast when he comes back too. He's gonna add an element that is different. I saw on Twitter today that someone on the offense was saying that he thought that Gibbs could outrun Jameson Williams in a 40-yard dash, and I was like, I don't know about that. But basically, what I'm saying, they got a two-headed monster in the backfield. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. Um, and basically, I mean, I think it's going to be a great way to kick off the year. It kind of reminds me of the feel of the Rams with Goff versus the Chiefs, shootout. Hopefully we get that good of a game. Um, I don't know though. Um, we are right
Yeah,
on time.
you're
So we got
you're
10 minutes
right.
left. So
Yeah, we have 10 minutes. No, you're right. It'll definitely be interesting to see how the defenses play. I think two highly explosive offenses, but a lot of question marks on the defensive side for both teams.
heck yeah. What's your score prediction?
I'll go. I'll go 27-24 Chiefs.
There you go.
What do you think?
Dude, I was going 31-27 Lions.
All
Um,
right.
but I do think it's going to be a good game. I think that if the Lions came out and win, it's going to shock the world. The hype's going to go through the roof. And it's going to be interesting to see a Detroit team play with people expecting him to win. Taking on
Right.
Kansas City is no easy feat, though.
It's been a while.
It
I think
has.
the last time they made the playoffs was Calvin Johnson years.
Hell yeah. All right. So let's move in. We're going to do this segment. We're going to basically keep you and I's record week to week,
Yep.
college games, and all the listeners, viewers track them as well. We'll be bringing in guests eventually, and we'll see how they fare. I went through here and picked up a couple of the better games, bigger teams. So why don't we hop right into this? First game on the agenda here, Brad. We have Notre Dame, NC State. Spread on this game is Notre Dame 7.5. Um, this spread was taken earlier today or yesterday, so it could have changed. But what's your thoughts there?
Give me Notre Dame minus 7.5.
Yeah,
Love the way Sam Hartman played. I think he's a stud. Marcus Freeman, year two. Um, he's got the defensive side playing well. And then they also got some studs up front on the offensive line. Don't know too much about NC State, but really, really like what I see from Notre Dame, so I'll take them.
I totally agree, man. I'm going Notre Dame minus 7.5 as well. Locking that shit in. Take it to the bank. Game number two. Um, this is a big one. Utah versus Baylor. So they're saying that, Utah's QB, Rising could be back this week. Obviously, Baylor was off a huge letdown week. I don't think they're a horrible team. I think stuff like that happens when you're not prepared, and your players are kind of looking to the next week, which is what I think happened here. The line is Utah minus 7.5. I am gonna ride. Obviously, we don't know if Rising's playing, but I'm gonna ride Utah minus 7.5 if Cam Rising's playing. I think their defense is elite. I think this is an opportunity for Baylor to kind of come back and prove that they're worth it. And they're gonna salvage their year. I just don't think it's against them. But yeah, I'm gonna ride Utah minus 7.5 there as well.
I think Utah wins. I just don't think they cover. I'll take Baylor plus 7.5. You're right. Big letdown last weekend against Texas State. I agree. I don't think they're a bad football team, and so I think they come back strong. Um, yeah, Cam Rising is obviously a huge factor here. I thought their two quarterbacks played okay in their first game, but definitely if Cam Rising is out, I would honestly pick Baylor to possibly win that game.
Yeah,
So
I
that's a
agree.
huge factors. So
I
I'll take Baylor plus 7.5 just with the uncertainty there with Cam Rising, and I do think they're a solid football team under Dave Aranda.
I do think so as well. I'm gonna ride the Utes, baby. I'm gonna ride them. I like them. Let's hop into our next one. This one, Ole Miss versus Tulane. Two ranked teams. Obviously, Tulane had a great year last year. Was reading on Twitter just for jokes. If Tulane beats Ole Miss, this is their only ranked team on the schedule, I believe. Do they deserve a chance in the CFP if they go undefeated? We'll answer that question after we give our predictions. Ole Miss minus 7.5 is the line. Brad, you take it away.
I'm taking Ole Miss. I'm never high on these, you know, preseason Cinderellas outside the Power Five. I think Tulane is a little overrated. Obviously, they had a great year last year, capping it off against the mecca of college football, USC. Shout out Jackson. Um,
Might be a guest on here soon.
um, yeah, I'm taking Ole Miss minus 7.5. I like Lane Kiffin. I like their running game. Jackson Dart is a dog.
I agree.
Um,
I'm laying Ole Miss
nothing
minus
more.
7.5 as well. I don't even think we need to talk about Tulane making the CFP. Maybe we'll talk next week if there's an upset. Let's get into a big game. Iowa State. Line's Iowa -4. Give us your thoughts.
Obviously, I'm taking Iowa. I think, it's a revenge game from last year. Iowa lost at home to Iowa State. But no, I think they win and cover here. Cade McNamara is obviously the difference. I'm not sure. Iowa State, I think, is in for a rough season. They lost a lot of guys to the NFL. Both teams are struggling with kind of gambling suspensions and things of that nature. So I'm pretty sure they're out. Their starting quarterback from last year is out for those type of reasons. Um, but yeah, missing a lot of guys for Iowa State. So I'm predicting 10 plus win for Iowa.
Yeah. I'm going to go Iowa as well. I don't really keep up with either of these teams, to be brutally honest. Um, but like you said, I think Iowa State lost a lot in the past couple years. I think they've got a good coach. I do think having a relatively competent quarterback at the helm and Cade McNamara for Iowa does, bring the difference with such an elite defense. So we're riding together on -4 there. Last little topic of the first pod. Alabama, Texas college football playoff, or I mean, not college football playoff. Freaking what's it? College game day. Alabama -7's the line. This is in Tuscaloosa. Keep that in mind. I'll take this one first, man. I think, man, this is a tough one for me because I think that Alabama. I want to say Alabama in so many ways, but I don't know if I believe in Milrow. They didn't really play anyone last week. He looked great. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna ride as much as it hates, as much as I hate to say it, I'm riding Texas +7. Think Quinn Ewers and the offense keep it close. They barely escaped last year. So I'm riding Texas +7 in Tuscaloosa.
Tough game for sure. Super excited to watch. But no, I'm thinking kind of the opposite of you. I'm excited to see Milrow go against a tough team like Texas. I think he's gonna fall out, and I'm going horns down. Bama -7. I think they're in for a bounce back year, missing out on the SEC championship last year. I think they go
They're
head
here
to
to
head
prove
with.
everyone wrong.
I
Shock
think
the
they go toe
world.
to toe with Georgia, and maybe find themselves back in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see what they got.
Heck
But yeah,
yeah.
taking Bama -7.
I like it. Well, I think that we'll wrap it up there. That's it for the Brad Burns Bridges pod. We're gonna be trying to do these once a week. Um, if you know us personally and you want to be a guest, reach out. We can get you
Or
on
if you
it.
don't know us, we'll take
Yeah, if you don't
anyone.
know us, man, leave a comment on the YouTube video. And thanks, Brad. It was fun.
I'll talk to you later, Bridges.
Talk to you later, man.